I've known Ron Staley for over 20 years, and he has just been someone that's capable of doing a whole array of tasks, from road building, rock development, all the way through to clear cutting and commercial thinning.
So Ron, I've worked with Ron. He's been here the whole 25 years. I've been a cell administrator, and I think he's been here, close to 40 as well, doing road building with his dad.
My dad worked in the industry for years, so yeah, I was immersed in it from a young age.
So all the new road construction was summertime use dirt road, mostly ridge-top roads, so not a lot of problems with resources, streams. With that road building experience, the post-harvest cleanup of drainage, shaping, water barring things, that's where they really strive above others. This was a pretty complex unit from the get-go. There was a lot more planning on this unit than the normal units. They came to me and said we have multiple streams, fish-bearing and non-fish-bearing, and some roads in the RMA.
This job has 3 prominent ridges with 2 prominent draws with big creeks in the bottom of both of them. And so it was determined that we needed to be on the center ridge so that we could pull straight back away from the creek. And so some road building was necessary to get us here. We wanted to sit on one side and reach across to the other for optimum lift.
Logging methods needed to be tweaked to not have to fly the wood through the RMA, but rather each side of the RMAs. So that posed challenges of moving the yarder and building more roads, and it just took more time and more effort, more planning.
And fortunately, the ridges actually were somewhat of a benefit to us here. We had good lift.
Majority of the unit was cable logged, and they used a swing yarder with a grapple carriage. So that poses a challenge when they're running the lines down every turn and trying to keep those lines out of the RMAs. In this case, they were pretty successful with that. But in the areas they did need to run the lines down into the RMAs, they were really cognizant of where they were doing that and didn't end up damaging any of the required structural components.
The management objectives for the Hill family are, where it makes sense, let's go above and beyond those forest protection rules. And so oftentimes our layout crew will lay out a buffer wider than what is required. And then we communicate with Ron on these things, saying, hey, we want to be good stewards here and we want to protect this slope. And so there were some trees that were identified by Ron Staley and his crew that were leaning over the creek, and they had value. We were able to harvest them, but he just said it's going to create more of a resource degradation to the soil and to the stream by cutting those. And so we ended up agreeing to leave those.
We had a really wet spring last spring, and so the whole unit itself was postponed a while from the original plan because of how wet it was.
Rainy conditions, wet conditions, I don't have to go out there and beat them with the stick to send them home. If I'm going to check to see if they're thinking about shutting down, they'll already be shut down. It's a testament to them, because when they shut down, their wages stop.
The financial risks were getting in and pushing it when you shouldn't push it, maybe, and having that flexibility and moral compass to say, hey, let's take a pause for a day or a week, or move things around, even though moving equipment around takes extra time.
He's looking at it in the long run of protecting our water and protecting our soils and compaction, and so he'll often shut down his operations, or even his own people will shut down operations if it's too wet.
There was multiple segments of fish stream, and there was roads within the RMAs, pre-existing roads, and they were very light-footed on those sections of roads. We hauled during dry periods. In this case, we actually did less maintenance of those roads than we would have on a typical road, so that we didn't incur additional disturbance.
Even in the felling process with the tethered system, there was just very little rutting.
Ron's never afraid to try anything new, and he likes to jump in. He's smart, and if he sees a good idea, he'll run with it. And as soon as drones came out, he was one of the first ones to get a logging drone to fly his lines. He could fly the haywire across, and it was safer for his employees.
There's been a couple of, that's a neat way to go about that challenge. I've seen that a number of times on Staley's units.
Just seems like if we have a challenging area he needs to do, he'll come up with some material or equipment and get it done.
I'm very pleased at what we see. I'm standing here in the riparian area. We have exceeded the Oregon Forest Practice Act on the requirement of the width of the buffer. We've gone beyond that and gone up the hill to where the slope is more stable. And I can see for future generations we're going to have recruitment of large wood into this medium fish stream.
I come back out here after Ron did the job, and it just really thrilled with what it looks like. We had some very steep roads. He water barred them ahead of time, and they survived the winter nicely, got all the water off. We were able to do the whole unit on dirt, and like I said, he's got a grader, so the ditches and the roads were all put away. The streams look very nice. All the RMAs are green and doing great. We haven't had any slides or any issues that we're concerned about. The ground's not compacted, and so just really happy with the way the job ended up.
The end product, I think, couldn't have really asked for better.
I think all in all, it went pretty well.